Well, now I will move a little more proximal in the hand and talk about the metacarpal fractures, which are also very commonly seen injuries in our day-to-day practice, and I'm sure you must have definitely treated many of them. And this is actually quite common, and a large, about 50% of the hand fractures, they constitute the metacarpal fractures, out of which fifth metacarpal is the most common, and there can be isolated injuries which can be simple or stable and unstable and so on. The metacarpals, they form a transverse arch as seen in this picture. So basically you need to restore that arch. If there is a fracture to the metacarpal here, and if this collapses, then this arch is not restored. So which will result into limitation of flexion at the PIP joint. The knuckle will be shortened, and this will result into will affect the function. And whereas now there is interesting observation here that the ring and small finger, the metacarpals, they are mobile. So when you make a fist, the fifth and the fourth metacarpal, it has a movement at the CMC joint. That is why it actually gives more strength to the fist. Whereas the index and the metacarpal, they are relatively fixed. They do not have any movement. And therefore you can see that the grip strength of the fist comes from the strength of the smaller fingers. If you are making a fist, and if you move this finger out, the strength of the grip, it decreases considerably. So this is because there occurs a little degrees, 15 to 25 degrees of flexion at the CMC joint of the metacarpal of these two ulnar fingers. So in a metacarpal fracture, what should you look for? You should look for three things. One is there a shortening? Because then that will disturb that metacarpal arch. I showed you the picture just now. Is there an angulation? Because that angulation will also cause shortening. And the third thing is there a rotation? Because rotation, like in any fracture, any long bone fracture, similarly in the metacarpal or the hand fractures also, is not at all acceptable, and it must be corrected. A very recent article of the hand, March 14, that the extensor are attached at the metacarpal head, you all know. The shortening therefore causes imbalance and an extensor lag, which is called as pseudocline, because then the patient will not be able to flex the MP joint completely. Every 2 millimeter of the shortening of a metacarpal can lead to 7 degrees of extensor lag. And therefore, shortening of up to only 6 millimeters is tolerable with neutral MCP extension. These are little finer details about this, so meaning thereby that you should try to restore the length of the metacarpal. Some degree of angulation is acceptable if there is no rotational alignment, and it grows actually exponentially from index to the little finger, meaning thereby that for a little finger fracture, particularly through the neck or the boxer's fracture, to the neck of the fifth metacarpal, up to a maximum of about 25 to 30 degree of angulation is acceptable, which can get corrected and get remodeled also. Whereas for the index finger, it is only about 10 degrees. So in that order. Rotation, as I said, the third thing is not acceptable. And you can see here, and the rotation becomes evident only when you flex the finger. If the finger is extended, sometimes the rotation cannot be differentiated, or it cannot be diagnosed. And therefore, you can see here, in flexion, normally if you draw lines here, they all converge towards the tubercle of the scaphoid. This you all know basically. And here now, as the patient is attempting to flex, look at this. This finger is pointing towards here. This finger is pointing towards here, whereas this finger is pointing in the reverse direction. So this is because there is an malalignment, rotational malalignment in this finger. The conservative management, as I told you, fracture of the fifth metacarpal do very well. You can treat them conservatively. That's the boxer's fracture. You can treat them conservatively with any method, with ball and bandage, with ulnar gutter splint, or even you can use K-wire, Perkin's K-wire fixations, and they will do very well. And you can accept up to 25 to 30 degree of angulation, as I told you, and they will do well. shortening. Another this thing is the shortening, and this is like an old fracture, and there is shortening. Now you can see here, this knuckle has moved proximally, and now the arch, the metacarpal arch is distorted. This is not acceptable. So therefore, this requires an open reduction, restoration of the length, correction of the shortening, and you can do a preoperative kind of evaluation, preoperative planning, which means you will need to. This is a little non-union, so you will have to freshen up the edges, put a bone graft here, and you can fix it in many ways, but you can also fix it with crossed K wires. Avoiding the extensor tendon as showed by Shailesh. However, in this case, we prefer to take a bone graft, contoured bone graft from the iliac crest, corticocancellous chunk, and fixed it with a plate, and restored the metacarpal arch, and then resulting into good function. Another case, fracture through the head of the metacarpal, treated by somebody, and you can see here fixed with K wire. There are many things which are not acceptable in this treatment. Number one, the K wire is not holding the fracture fragment. Number two, the K wire, as exactly pointed out by Shailesh, is actually passing through the center of the extensor tendon, and it is causing flexion at the PIP joint, which is undesired. So there are too many things which are actually not right in this. So you need to revise this. You open it up, and then this is the fragments which are lying loose. So you fix them and fix it with with K wires, thin K wires, fixing that into position, and you can get a good healing of the fractured pieces. Or alternatively, you can also fix them with mini screws, again obviously restoring, because this is too small a fragment, and you need to restore the articular surface of the joint, and obviously also look for the rotation. And then there is this kind of fracture. This is an unstable oblique fracture. So this definitely will lead to shortening. It has led to shortening. You look at the height of the metacarpal and look at the metacarpal arch that I showed you earlier, and this is actually not acceptable. And somebody treated again like this with a K wire, which is actually doing nothing to the fracture and not reducing that well at all. So obviously one can do by many methods. Obviously you can even treat it, remove that wire and put it by cross K wires also. But anyway, this is also one of the methods of treatment, and you can get a good functional results because you can start early mobilization. Another fracture. This is obviously, you will agree, everyone will agree that this is a grossly unstable fracture and needs a good reduction and to get a good result even in the early post-operative period. This is just about 2 weeks plus. You can also treat these methods by or minimally invasive thing. You did not open them up, because this is obviously a fracture with multiple fragments, difficult to treat sometimes with plating, open reduction, everything. This is definitely short, this is definitely unstable. What you can do is, under anesthesia, try to restore as much length as you can get, and try to fix it with 2 cross K wires, fixing the 2 adjacent metacarpals, which will maintain the length and for about 4 weeks, and remove them to restore and to start early mobilization. Next, this thing that we showed about, we talked about shortening. Now we talk about angulation. This kind of fracture, angulation is not acceptable because the metacarpal arch is shortened, and this may also lead to again pseudoclying or restriction of movements and so on. So this actually was an old injury, and therefore it had to be opened up and treated with plating. Or you can even a kind of a long spiral fracture like this, you can just treat it with 2 interfragmentary screws as well. This was a patient who was treated for a fracture of the metacarpal. Do you see anything wrong here? No, not at all. The fracture looks very well healed, but when you try to flex this, you can see here that there is scissoring occurring. I showed you this picture earlier also. There is occurring scissoring of the fingers. The middle finger is now scissoring over the ring finger. That means there is a rotational malalignment, and this needs to be corrected. So go in again, do a corrective osteotomy, and try to fix it with a plate after correcting the rotation. So whenever you are treating or fixing any metacarpal fracture by whatever method of treatment, always on the operation table, if you are trying to do any K-wire fixation or anything, always try to flex and see whether there is scissoring of the fingers occurring or not. If there is no scissoring, that means you are not leaving behind any rotational malalignment. And this is the result. That's the well-healed scar and a good result without any scissoring. The same patient where the rotational malalignment has been corrected. Another non-union of the base of the second metacarpal. Again, so much of shortening, collapse, and so on, and needs to be treated with the help of a bone graft and an internal fixation. This is another method of treatment, box wiring. So if this is kind of a fracture here, obviously there are mature methods. This can obviously be treated by any method that you want to do, but I'm just giving you, enumerating the types of methods which are in use. So you can open it up a little bit there and drill holes, and in cross K-wire kind of fashion, you can do this kind of box wiring also. This is another method. And then you have the famous bouquet or the Fouché technique. Fouché is a French surgeon. So this is the Fouché technique wherein for a metacarpal fracture, you can pass multiple fine K-wires going into the canal of the metacarpal, going up to the head of the metacarpal, like Shailesh said, not going beyond, and leave them multiple wires here. So this actually gives stability. It gives rotational stability. That's important because we are putting in multiple K-wires. And then the K-wires are actually then removed, obviously, after 3 to 4 weeks after the fracture is united. There is a little problem with this thing. Sometimes these K-wires can irritate the extensor tendon and can cause problem, but one has to be careful about that, and one can avoid that complications. Is the role of X-fix for this kind of fifth metacarpal fracture? Certainly, various methods of X-fix have also been shown by earlier. I am sure the master of X-fix, my friend Warrior, will also show you some more cases. So to conclude, don't miss shortening, angulation, rotation. Even a small change in any of these displacements can have an exponential bearing on the grip strength, on the functional ability of the hand, and the cosmetic appearance of the finger or the hand. And therefore, you need to choose the correct method, whether it is conservative or operative, and there is a plethora of methods for treating the metacarpal fractures. Thank you very much for your attention.
And your simple personality reflects on your presentation to make these complicated cases look so simple. But as of my experience goes, most of these average orthopedic surgeons must either go for a hand course where they work under people like you to learn the skills, or refer it to them rather than messing it up.
No, I don't agree, sir. I'm also an average orthopedic surgeon. So if I can do it, anybody else can do it.
Thank you so much, sir.